Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the introduction and appreciate the opportunity to address the group and be a part of this. I said before we started, I've been watching this thing grow. I think really from the early stages. I was doing a project last March called Quarantine with Coaches, and I saw some other guys trying to get coaches better. And so, kudos to you, Justin, for doing what you do. Um, your Google Drive is unbelievable. If you ever try to sell it, let me be the first one to get in line, or let me try to sell it for you. I just took a pretty big hit as a day trader this week on GameStop. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you're better off for it. But anyway, appreciate the opportunity to talk here. We're going to talk about two of really my passions, and that is player development and tight end play here. And I see Coach Hauser's in here. Hey, Coach Hauser, I hope you're doing well, man. I'm going to share my screen now. Oops, I clicked the wrong button there. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm getting rusty on my Zoom as we move back towards reality, I guess. But a little bit about me. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I went to a school called Illinois College. I knew really at a young age that I was going to be working in football. It was just a fabric of who I am and what I wanted to do. And I chose Illinois College really in a large part because of I thought it would amplify my career in coaching. And I got a chance to work for or play for a guy named Aaron Keene. And Illinois College wasn't the biggest school, wasn't the best school, it was non-scholarship. I had scholarship offers, but I really wanted to work and play for a guy that I thought had a bright future in the game, and I knew I could work with, and who would make me a better person and man. And fortunately for me, I hit the jackpot because he's been awesome as a mentor and as a coach. And then from there, you see a little bit of a break in there, that gap there between college and my first coaching experience was law school. So a little bit unique in that sense. Went to law school, graduated, passed the bar, with the intentions to be a sports agent. And after working for an NFL agent, I realized it wasn't for me. So I got back into coaching, and I passed the bar in April and got my first job in July. So not the most conventional path into coaching, but here I am. I've been fortunate to work at a couple different places and really a large spectrum, and been fortunate to coach at a lot of different positions. So Lansing Eastern provided me an opportunity with coaching offensive line, Waldorf College, Illinois College, coaching running backs, Wash U defensive line, and then Whitewater tight end play. I put this on here. Last week I was talking to a group in Tennessee. I didn't think they maybe knew about us, but now Quinn Miners is a phenom at the Senior Bowl, and he's taking off. And it's sorry about that, guys. I'll jump into it. I know you guys want to hear about us offensively. This is who we are offensively. We're a pro-style read team. What does that mean? We're gonna look a lot more like the teams on Sunday than on Saturday. We do have read elements, RPOs, and inside run and things of that nature. We're gonna be balanced, run the pass. We try to be 50-50 in that regard. Try to use tempo very, as a weapon. We can go as fast as we want or as slow as we want. Last year we were in the quarterfinals of the playoffs playing the defending national champs and the number one team in the country, and we held the ball for 43 minutes. So we try to use tempo as a weapon, and it's been helpful. And it's really a key component of who our offense is. I think the best offenses, quite frankly, are the ones that don't necessarily go the fastest, but are the ones that are able to control the tempo. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is win the A gaps and drive the ball vertically with play action. We do use our quarterback in the run game to get an offensive hat back. And, fortunately for us, a lot of players are going to play. Trying to go fast through that, guys, just because I know some of it is, it's redundant. I feel almost, a little humble just where we're at right now with our guy, Quinn Miners, is at the Senior Bowl, and he's blowing up. So if you ever want to talk about us as a program, as far as culture and things of that nature, I'd love to talk to anyone listening. I think people from the outside think we have a secret formula here, and we hire the right coach at the right time, or we have a donor that's better than their donor. And I can tell you from 4 years now being here, it's not true. What we do is focus on the basics better than anyone else, and we go to work every day with a pound the rock mentality, and that's how we go forward. Talking about tight end play today and player development, this is an overview of what we've been able to do in the last 11 or 10 seasons. We've had 11 all-conference selections at tight end. Fortunate to get some big bodies here, be able to develop them. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about how we do that here moving forward. When we talk about player development, okay, I really look at it in 4 different exercises throughout the year. There's going to be a self-evaluation that's done with the players. That's done, an overview at the positional level. There's a one-on-one positional meeting here done 3 times a year. Offensively, we do a pie chart exercise, and I know Coach Jennings has been here before, and he's talked in detail about that. I'll kind of talk a little bit about that as well. And then we have an off-field development, and we do that through the off season. So when we talk about self-evaluation, okay, and we do that after every game, and we'll do that after every season. With reference to every game, I'm going to pull up this sheet here. Let me pull. Our guys are going to get ATE grades, okay? Can these guys see it? Sorry about that.
Do you still have the self-evaluation slide up?
No, I have the.
Okay, you may have to stop the share and just share the new one.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's
my fault.
Zoom limitations sometimes,
Yeah, I used to be an expert at this, and now I'm struggling. So.
Yeah, you may just have to stop. Yeah, there you go.
Got it. So here's a look at our ATE grades, okay? And just to give you an example, so this is the first round of the playoffs last year. Our guys are going to get ATE grades. That stands for assignment, technique, and execution. And it's black or white. It's a 1 or a 0. Did they do it or did they not do it? As I show you, this is the first round of the playoffs. We really felt like we were going to make a run deep into the playoffs this year. So these grades are hard grades. I graded these things hard. We wanted to focus on the little details and with the emphasis of, hey, we might have won this first round game like we expected to, I guess maybe a little bit, but understand we didn't play well and we got exposed a little bit, and so we had to refocus moving forward. And so you see these at the bottom. I grade everyone. The position group itself will get an overall grade. So you see the percentages. Obviously, we want to shoot for 100% in each one of these, okay? But quite frankly, that's not practical, especially in the first round of playoffs. We're facing, or really any level in the playoffs, we're facing, conference champion from Midwest Conference. They're a dang good football team, and so what we try to do usually is really try to focus on 94% is our goal on assignment, technique, and execution. That's the benchmark for us. Maybe not a goal, but a benchmark for us. So you can see here, we did not perform well to our standards in assignment, technique, or execution that day. We'll chart that throughout the year so we can come back and look at it as an individual level. I can look at it as a player level as well. To see, what games either we struggled, we can review the preparation for that week, things of that nature, I think are important. And then the other thing you see there in the middle is GMAs. That's mental errors or mental assignment busts, excuse me, bends, okay, tip of spears, and lows. These are 4 things that as a team we charted. Okay, our head coach put a charge into us entering last year to obviously limit to keep it simple and be able to limit the MAs. We put a charge in bending with fast feet. You know, the year before we had, if I can allude to this, the year before we had 20 plus concussions in 14 games, and we really evaluated what is it that is causing these concussions. So we went back as a staff and we watched every single one of these concussions, and what we came to the conclusion is these guys are getting hit here and here because they're standing too tall. And so what we did was we went back and we changed the way we squatted. We invested in some technology that we can chart our performance in practice, right? But then we also emphasized it in games, right? Bending just didn't become a coaching point. It became something we were grading on. And so you see 10 bends here. That was part of it. Tip of spear, it stands for, or TOS stands for tip of spear. That's something we stole from Scott Peters. We're looking for hand placement, being tight hands to the body. So again, we're looking for things. These are the things, we're looking for throughout the game. And really what we're trying to do, I mean, you're trying to see when you're doing this, what are you coaching, right? You're coaching every snap. You're coaching probably feet. You're probably coaching hands, and you're coaching hips as well, right? And they got to get coached on every single play, right? And you got to figure out is what you're coaching showing up, right? If not, where's the communication breakdown in that sense? And sorry, slide back there too. Sorry about that. And that's also, the key piece in our evaluation from a game-to-game perspective, right? When we talk about positional analysis, and I'll share this with you as well, this is something that I did my first year here, and I got hired in July, and I was learning a new position, and I was fortunate to have 2 seniors that really helped me through that transition, but I was losing those guys, and I really wanted to evaluate what I was coaching, the language I was using, and another piece is I wanted our head coach and offensive coordinator to be on the same page as well. So it really just came down to being like a state of the union for the position itself. And this is the 2017 player analysis, and give them an overview. Things as far as a unit review, here are the things we did well, I thought, in the run game overall, using Huddle to track some of those errors, using our ATE grades to track some of those things to see what I felt like we did well, and then things we needed to improve in. And then same thing with the passing game here, what we did well, what we need to improve in. And then from there, a breakdown of, for us, route running, where we caught our passes, what routes we caught our passes on, so we could reevaluate, some of the things we were doing in practice. I basically inserted each coaching point and defined each block because I wanted to reevaluate the communication piece and seeing where I was at. Then we did some individual analysis as well there on each player. But I think doing that helps you understand that getting your mind right, wrapping around. It's easy to focus on one little piece. Oh man, if we just did this better, then we would have been better this year. Maybe that's the case for you guys, but for me, I wanted to evaluate each area, and that was a tool we used to do that. And then again, I think it's important, especially if you're a position coach, to make sure that what you're doing is getting communicated and understood through the head coach and offensive coordinator, and you're on the same page with all of that. As far as one-on-one meetings go, it's more than just the guys coming in and chatting with me for 15 minutes. I want it to be more than that, right? I want hopefully our relationship to be built beforehand, because I want to have those candid conversations when it comes to evaluating. And I want to get their feedback too. I want them to help me become a better coach. And in order to do that, they need to evaluate me as well, evaluate my communication, evaluate some of the things they felt like we need to improve on, some of the things that they felt worked for them. And I think that's a huge piece. So that said, when we go into these things, we'll do these meetings after fall camp, after season, after spring ball, we're looking to really, dive deep into the player's mind, right? I want him thinking, right? I don't want him to just come in and just, come up with, things that first pop in his head. I want him to put some thought into this, right? And the way to do that is give those questions ahead of time. And I want them to be able to really dive deep into what are the things that really motivate them. What are the things that make them learn best? What are the things that they felt like the drills that maybe we can improve on or that worked for them, right? And then the other piece of that is we'll do a goal exercise as well. And I think I got this when I first got to Whitewater. I got this from a couple different places, and I just kind of stole from here and stole from there. And I'm trying to pull it up here so you can see it. But each off-season meeting, we did a goal exercise, right? And so you're going to see Jared Zausch goal exercise for us. He's a 3 years, going to be a 3-year starter for us, hopefully this year, whenever we do get to play. This is an expectation sheet. So what I thought he can expect from me, what I can expect from him. And then we went into our prescription plan, right? So we're big goal setters here from an individual standpoint, right? So current weight, target weight, and then areas of improvement academically, areas of improvement athletically, right? And then you can see he took this home, he filled it out, right? And then I saved it. And then when we met again, and after spring, so 5 months later, he got to take this out, and we got to reevaluate what he was able to do in the spring, right? So you see the green there, that's my handwriting. Still needs improvement, right? Things that we then moved forward with to the fall, right? And into summer training, right? Spring goals and things of that nature. The other piece is, again, here's another one, right? Here's some goals for us. Hey, circle the 2 ones that you want to achieve, right? Circle the 2 ones you want to achieve, and then a discussion about, again, how are you going to get there, right? How can I help? How can you improve this summer, right? Where are you going to be at? Things like that. And then we go down here. There's the what, the how, and the why. Big believer in understanding these guys is what's, how's, and why's. Why being the most important one. Why are they doing this? What is their intrinsic motivation, right? And I want that communication during that player meeting. I want to learn more about our players, right? And these exercises have really helped over the last 3 years of doing it. And this year we got one as we get ready for spring / whatever you want to call it, our season moving forward. They're going to do another goal exercise, and all these things I keep them in a binder. I can track sort of goal from goal to the end of the season to the next season, and it's been a really a great tool for us when talking about player development. Get back to our PowerPoint here. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job on the Zoom. I apologize.
You're good, Coach. Hey, we're navigating, man.
What was that?
I said we're navigating, man. We're good.
Yeah, I'm navigating. I'm doing my best. I feel rusty in Zoom all of a sudden. I was an expert in it, and now I'm rusty in it. So, the pie chart is an exercise that we'll do 3 times a year as an offensive staff, and it's a great evaluation for us and the offensive staff collectively, because everyone has a different opinion about what they think the offense is going to be, right? I know our receivers coach has been here, right, talking. He has an idea of what the offense should be and excel in. Our running backs coach the same, and then our offensive line coach, right? And so what we do is we try to map out, we try to piece together who we think we're going to be. And I think Coach Jennings has been on this Zoom talk, and I know it's been a huge benefit for us, but he can tell you that it is a huge benefit for him, right? Because he'll use this exercise to see how we're going to script, how we're going to install, things of that nature. And again, we do it 3 times a year: fall camp, spring ball, or start of the season, excuse me, and spring ball. So here's a look at the various, essentially categories. And what we try to do is we take in what we think is an average game, so 80 plays, right? And we break down how many times we think we're going to run some variation of that category in that 80 play breakdown, right? And so you see here, inside zone, 11 times, wide zone, 8 times, power, 8 times, right? This was done in the preseason going into the 2018 season, right? And so Coach Jennings is able to use that, right, this tool here, and then go and script, right? And then from there, we'll evaluate after fall camp. Maybe some of these things we're not good at. We're not as good as we thought we were, and we need to improve, right? So here's a look at the after now, the after of the season, how it turned out, right? So we ended up being 60-40 run to pass. We try to be 50-50, as I said earlier, but we ended up being 60-40 that year. We had a couple leads. We ran out the clock. But you look down at the bottom there in the concepts, again, this is how we finished, right? So we ended up with 70 plays a game that year. We ran 17% inside zone, 8% wide zone, 14% power, right? Now you go and you look at the breakdown preseason versus who we actually were. So you're looking at this, both as a per play and percentage, right? Well, inside zone was kind of where we thought it would be, right? 14%, 11 plays a game. We ended up with 12 plays a game, right? Wide zone, 6 plays a game. We thought it would be 8. Power, we thought it'd be 8. We ended up running 10. Some of the bigger difference, though, as you work your way through this, we thought we'd be a speed option team. We thought that was going to be our answer to some of the odd fronts, bear fronts we were going to see. Preseason, four times a game. We ended up running it basically less than one time a game. And so, you take this tool and you move forward into the spring, right? And now speed zone is not as big on our plate. Well, maybe you amplify some of the things like power or inside zone in place of that, or maybe you add something new, right? It's up to you what you want to do. But again, we use this tool to kind of evaluate, who we are in that standpoint. And then the final piece is the off-field development, right? This became really, I worked for a guy at WashU named Larry Kinbaum, and I really learned from him because why you have to make sure you're coaching these guys in the off season, right? When we play football, these guys are going snap to whistle usually about 6 seconds per play, right? So we spend a lot of time at practice coaching those 6 seconds. But are you coaching the other, 12 months of the year, right? Building the best student athlete you can build. And I brought that idea to Whitewater with me, and really kind of exploded from there, right? So first thing we do in the off season is continuous personalized interaction, right? And that seems very simplistic. I get it. But at the Division III level, we don't have enough time with our players in the spring, quite frankly. It is what it is. So we have to create that time, right? We don't get to be in the weight room. We don't get to see them. We don't have a Division I spring ball, or even a Division II spring ball for that matter. So what we're trying to do with this is to continue to build that relationship with our players, right? And the way to do that is, I think personally, is to have conversations that aren't related to football. You have to know the person, and you have to focus on the person, especially in the off season. It's a perfect time to do that, right? And so what I try to do each week with each one of my guys, is either phone call or in person, just to see how the week's going, what they got planned for the week. Try to touch base with what's going on in their personal life, more so not their social life, but their personal life, and figure out how their support system's doing, right? And I think you can cut off some red flags if you're having these conversations, right? You can cut off the red flags before they become academically in trouble, or they drop out, or they, quit the team, those things, by having these conversations. And I think that those are important, and you got to be intentional with these conversations. No different than the player meetings we talked about where they got the questions in beforehand. You got to be intentional with these conversations, and you got to be consistent with these conversations, really, because that's the only way you're going to build rapport there. And then the other piece is the off-season reading list. I'll be honest, I'm really proud of the ability that we've been able to have these guys read books, college students reading books in the off-season. And I brought it in 2017, Mindset by Carol Dweck. That was the first one we read. And the way it started was I was reading the book on my own. And if you haven't read Mindset, it's about having a growth mindset, the idea that you can achieve great things through practice and effort. You can master things through practice and effort. That these skill sets of yours aren't fixed. There aren't limitations to them if you continue to work, right? And that's going to cause you to, handle adversity pretty well if you can do that, right? You can handle the setbacks if you have that kind of mindset. You can handle success if you have that kind of mindset. And as I was reading that book, I kept thinking chapter after chapter after chapter, man, I wish the guys knew this, right? And so what I did was I took my outline of my notes from the book. I presented them to each one of them. So they had a hard copy of that. And each week as we moved forward in spring ball, they had to read a chapter of my notes from the chapter and then answer questions and how that was relatable to them as a student athlete or a human being, a boyfriend, a friend, a son. And it became a good exercise. And then from there, we kind of just took off. And then 2018, we moved to the Energy Bus and ended up having our seniors basically do a book report over the book. And if you haven't read the Energy Bus, I know Justin, we just talked about John Gordon. It's a great book, and it's a perfect book for any football player, to be honest, any person, to be honest. Then, my favorite thing we did was in 2020 when we had a little bit of free time with the quarantine piece, and we started a book club with It Takes What It Takes. And this book club, sorry about that. This book club consisted of past and present tight ends. So you see the bottom here, those are two guys that graduated. The guy in the middle to the right there, another guy that graduated. We had three guys that were in our program previously that were senior leaders for us, talking to two guys that are now senior leaders for us, right? And It Takes What It Takes. I won't go into the book. It was a perfect book for us. It talks about essentially having a neutral mindset while you're playing football, while you're trying to achieve goals. And each week we read through basically a portion of the book, and these guys would talk through the book together. College students in quarantine could have been playing Warzone or whatever game they're playing, could have been doing a lot of other things, right? But they're here in this book club every week for 4 weeks straight as we read through an entire book together. And it was honestly the most rewarding piece of my time here at Whitewater. And we've done some great things, but to see these guys sharing, to see our graduates, our past players here giving back to these guys was just remarkable. And it was a great exercise. It Takes What It Takes then became a part of our fall, whatever you want to call what we did this fall. We had our senior leaders there using what they learned in the book and applying it to their leadership. This year, we've already moved on to Atomic Habits. They did their first exercise. Their first exercise is actually due tomorrow at 9 a.m., right? And so I just want to encourage you guys to maybe sometimes get out of your comfort zone and make sure you're pouring into these players because you got to coach more than just the guy on the field. You have to coach the man. And I've been fortunate to have some great success doing that in my time here at Whitewater through that off-season development stuff. We'll get into tight end play now, and there's not a transition here. Again, I'm passionate about the player development stuff. If you got questions on some of those things, I'd love to talk to you about them. I'm an open book. I'm always trying to steal ideas. I'm glad I touched with Justin. He already gave me 4 book ideas that will be added to my list of books I want to get through. But if you have any book recommendations, like I said, man, shoot me a DM or whatever. Hit me up in this chat box. I'm always looking for great books. But we'll move into the tight end play, which maybe why you're here. Maybe I don't know. But when we talk about tight end play, it starts for us, the foundation of us. Everything we're going to do is going to be done with our goals of our team in mind. So for us, we're trying to build the fastest, most physical, most disciplined football team that we can possibly build. And then from our goals with that center around, again, tip of spear, and that's how we strike. That is a foundation in our program, and we emphasize that on a daily basis. And it's not just offensive linemen and tight ends. Our D line is bought into it. Our linebackers do it. We work tip of spear, right? And actually all these at the end of each practice. So don't just say it's an emphasis and not practice it. As a team, we will come together at the end of practice and work tip of spears drills. We'll work ball security. We'll work bending with fast feet, or we're competing, right? Where maybe one of the first 3 are involved in that piece, right? That's what we do here, right? We focus on these basic things. We're not going to wow you. I'm not going to wow you today with these drills. I'm sure of it. But we're going to focus and we're going to coach our players up on the details. I know that for sure, right? When we talk about run game emphasis, we'll go through run game emphasis. We'll go through passing emphasis, and I'll show you the drills that I think are great for whatever offense you're running, and have been helpful for us. So with a run emphasis, obviously it starts with stance and start. That's going to be coached up to some degree. I'm not a big believer in overcoaching stance. They're going to get some foundations. We'll talk about that as we look through some of the drill work. But I'm not going to spend a ton of time on, or I guess maybe be rigid in how we're going to coach stance. I got a guy in my room. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. And we had 2 guys last year that were 5'10", 260 pounds, right? So it's very tough to say, hey, the stance is going to look exactly the same. They're not. They're just not. You get into the biomechanics piece of it with the hips and the knees and things of that nature. Give them some principles. Get them to the point they can move efficiently out of their stance, and that's it. That's what you're going to look for. The next thing we'll talk a lot about is engaging and finishing. So everything we do is going to have a strike element to it. Tip of spear, we do obviously talked about tip of spear being the prominent thing in our program. We'll work a little bit of mixed hands, but the other focus of all that striking is we're playing long. We're letting our hands strike the opponent, right? And we're going to drive our opponent with our feet, right? And then the other piece is finishing, right? You've got to either push, pull, right, or torque somebody to finish them in a block. We have a great clinic going on right now at the Senior Bowl. Our left guard is down there. He's become the talk of the Senior Bowl, and I keep seeing him finishing people with the drills that we work here today. I put the influence down here at the bottom. These are guys, quite frankly, I've stolen from. Everything I've done and will show you is stolen in some regards by these 3 guys, right? Big believers in these guys. Scott Peters is the founder of Tip of Spear. I believe that's the way to phrase it. I apologize if it's not. Coach Strollo is a big feet and hands guy. Great career. And then Jim McNally is really the godfather of the Cool Clinic. I steal from these 3 guys. So if you watch these drills and you're wondering where they come from, primarily they're going to come from one of these 3 guys. Our passing game emphasis, Coach Hill was on here I think a week or 2 ago. He talked about the 5 phases of catch. So when we drill pass game, these are one of the 5 of these areas, right? We're going to work stance and start, releases, our stem, our break point, our catch, and our finish, right? This is how, if I'm doing a drill, right? And the goal of a drill is for it to show up in the game, to make what they do in the game better, right? And sometimes I think you watch some of these clinics, occasionally you'll see drills that you're just like, hey, this isn't gonna ever, why are they doing this? You're not going to use it, right? So everything we do goes back to obviously one of the three things we talked about in the run game, or one of these five in the passing game, right? And I guess I'll jump really into our drill work here. Again, these are drills that I think any tight end group in the country can use, right? It doesn't matter if you're a triple option team or whatever, like a spread, you can use these drills, in my opinion, right? The first thing you'll see is our waddle drill. Our guys do this every single day. I know they hate it, but it's the first thing they're going to do every day, right? And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them moving their feet, right, in a position of power, right? They're getting ready to
real fast. Sorry.
Yep.
You may just have to share that new screen. I think.
Of course,
Good, man.
Of course. That's on me, guys. Again, rusty.
There it is. There it is.
Sorry. We're trying to get them moving their feet, bending with fast feet into a position of power while uncoupling their hands and their feet. Why are we doing that, right? Well, when you burst, okay, and you run, you can see my knees, right? That's how you run, right? I can't strike people and do this, right? So I got to uncouple my feet and my hands, right? And so what we do is give them a tennis ball to hold, because I still want those hands to be active, but they're just going to be uncoupled from my feet. I don't want the hands to go dead. I don't want them laying down at the sides. I want them in a position where they're striking. For us, that position is going to be right in front of their belly button. I hope you guys can see me here. Right in front of their belly button. We strike low to high here at Whitewater with that tip of spear, with the thumbs rotating out, elbows up and down, really activating all these back muscles and traps, right? So I want our hands low. They're going to strike low to high, but it's under the same idea. The hands are going to be right in front of the body, right in front of the belly button, but no different than a boxer, right? A boxer's going to, when he throws a jab, it's A to B, right from here. Boom, right? Rolling over the hands. For us, when we strike low to high, same thing. We're here. We rotate our thumbs out, generating power, right? We're getting underneath that pad shelf right there. And again, elbows up and down, right? Same idea, same concept, right? We're getting in a strike position. Really want to see these guys, again, activate the feet. We're looking for good spine angles and good shin angles. Here's a different look at it from the ground. So perfect right there. That's what I like, right? You see right away, good shin angles, good spine angles, right? Coach Strollo will talk about the gator leg and being able to attach. If I attached a rubber band from his butt to his Achilles, I would like to see that bungee cord be as small as possible and still allow them to move with efficiency, right? The moment that butt drops too low, we're going to lose power. If it's too high, we're going to lose power, and we're not going to move our feet as fast as we want to, right? So you can see Zach right here just operating. This is exactly what we're looking for. Good shin angles, good spine angles. Go right into Jack. You can see, right? Look at the bungee cord example, not there, right? Look at the spine angle, not there, not where we want it to be, right? Tanner here in the back, too tight with the hands, right? Don't want to handcuff ourselves, get our hands too close, right? We want to be away from our body to the point, again, no different than a boxer throwing a punch, right? I'm here with my hands, not too tight. Don't want to get handcuffed. If I get handcuffed, I'm going to get caught with my hands too low, or to make up for it, I'm going to have to bring my hands out. We're going to lose that inside leverage with our hands. Not great right there. Not great. And then the last piece here, let's get to this thing. We'll progress into a stance. We're closing in the gap, right? Squeezing the space here, and then we're trying to get into that waddle position, right? So bursting as they would run into block, a second level or third level player, right? Trying to get into that position. Zach here, too tall, right? Look at the shin, look at the spine angle, not a powerful position, okay? Looking for ankles leading the knees leading the hips. He's got that a little bit, right? But again, the spine angle is bad, not a very, very powerful position. Here's Alex, right? Terrible, right? Terrible here. Alex here to the example, again, spine angle up and down, shin angle up and down, not what we're looking for, right? Drew a stick figure, if you will, really kind of what I want to see. Again, good shin angle, good spine angle, ankles leading the knees leading the hips, hands out in front, ready to play long. That's what we're looking to do. There's Ben, pretty good here. So we're sprinting, we're coming to balance, and we're in that power waddle position. Hands are active, feet are active, right? That's pretty good by the freshman. Just another look at it. Okay, another look at it. We'll progress there. This was early in spring ball. We'll end up progressing to me holding a soccer ball and them actually striking me. Okay. Next, we'll look at drive catch. This is kind of moving into that stance and start period. This is how we will develop good starts out of our stances. We do this, stole this again, Charles Bentley, looking for ankles leading the knees, knees leading the hips. So I look at the ankle, it's outside the knee, yes. Knee outside the hip, yes, we're good there, right? We want that knee tucked in. We want to be efficient with our movement out of the stance, right? If that knee is out here, flared out this way, right, I'm just going to have to bring that knee back in to a position of power so I can transition the weight, right? We want to move our feet before we move the weight, right? And this drill really helps you focus on that, right? The idea is that we're going to take off here like an airplane, low to high. You're going to see us go this way. Don't want to see us pop up and then move. Don't want to see us spin out of this, right? We'll see an example of that here in a second, right? Again, jack too high, right? Too high. Shin angle is not great. Okay. Spine angle is not great. Jack is here on the right, I should say. Sorry. Pretty good by Zach on the left. Here's another look at it. Okay. You can see the guy in the far there, Ben, number 80. Okay. He's popping straight up. Okay, we want to give the weight to our feet, right? Move the feet without weight. He's popping up. What is he doing that? Because he doesn't have his stance loaded, right? That's what this drill is teaching. Loading the stance, right? So that weight, as I'm moving right, I want to put the weight on the left foot, right? So as you see Ben move the feet before the weight, right? Because it's not loaded, he's not able to give the weight to the other foot, right? So he pops straight up. That's the guy again, far end here. The nearest guy to us is not driving out. So again, we want to be able to drive out of that stance. He's just doing the same, pretty similar to what Ben is. Ben's a little heavier, not as strong, so he's got to pop up. Kyle's able to not pop up, right? But he's still not driving out either, which is what we're looking for. So left guy here, Zach, it's pretty good what we're looking for. Getting out of the stance. Both of them pretty good. All we're doing, again, is teaching weight distribution, loading your stance, and getting out of it efficiently. Efficient movement here. Okay, got to get Jack down. He's on the one on the right here. Again, spine angle is terrible. Shin's not good either. Trying to get him into a good power position. Pretty decent here by the guy on the far left, Kyle Dahl. Okay, again, are the ankles outside the knees? Yes. Knees outside the hips? Yes. Hands out in front? Not bad. Probably base could be a little bit closer, okay? But getting to where we want to get to, right? Let's look at Alex, okay? Compact, but he's bending at the waist, right? So hands are too tight, bending at the waist, so we don't have the good shin angle, we don't have the good spine angle, right? Again, as we measure this, as we film this and we are able to measure this, we're trying to get them into the most powerful position they can be in pre-strike, right? Pre-strike, with the idea that we're going to play long, right? Control the upper body of the defender with our hands, right? And then move that defender with our feet. Okay, that's what this drill is trying to get to. The waddle's trying to get to. Stance and starts. The biggest thing, again, give these guys parameters with their stances. Again, Jared is 6'7", 245 pounds. Bryce is 6'2", 215 pounds. Their stances are not going to look the same. Right? But give them some parameters, what you want to see, so they can use those parameters to move efficiently out of their stance, right? Again, ankles outside the knees, knees outside the hips, right? And then we want that hand down. We want it pretty close to right underneath our eye. We always say the example is if the eye fell out of the socket, we'd be able to catch it with our hand. That's where we want it. We have a very balanced stance here at Whitewater because we ask these guys to be multi-plane at tight end. They're going to have to get out and numerous directions, back, forward, left, right, whatever it is, we're going to have to move out of that stance. We better be able to load our stance like you saw the previous drill, right? And then move it with efficiency. Another piece that I'll touch on here is I like to use marks on the field, okay? when I'm talking about stance and starts, right? We'll go, a lot of times we'll go 1 step to 2 steps and then fire our feet and get out. And that's a progression in stance and starts, right? So here we use these dashes, and I don't know if you guys have them around your field, but we'll use these dashes to give them a parameter, or a measuring stick to their first step. I didn't touch on this in the run emphasis slide, but we're really big on positional leverage and positional steps in the room, right? And what I mean by positional steps is, listen, a lot of guys are going to say, I want this step to be 6 inches, and they need to take a 6-inch step. That's fine. I give our guys ideas, the goal of whether hands, hips, hands, hips, and striking point need to be, right? And then they got to move their feet to get there, right? So a 6-inch step to me, if I'm looking at a tight 5 versus a 7, a 7 versus a wide 9, that step's going to look different, right? So I'm not going to spend, personally, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes in individual taking 6-inch steps when that step needs to vary based on the play, based on the defensive technique, right? Give them, again, parameters and stance and start, and give them goals where their hands, hips, and feet need to get to. Tight lower back is the final piece of the stance and start piece for us. So you saw the front with the ankles, knees, and hips, and hand placement. Again, hands should be underneath the eye. Jared's a little bit, probably not enough on the hand. And then I don't like to see that bulge in the back, right? I like this right here, tight lower back with a good spine angle. Again, we're going to get out of our stance right into that strike position. That's where we want to see the good spine angle and the good shin angle. Just working a positional step here. Just trying to get the toe sort of to the other side of the dash. Again, we'd like to see it a lot of times to get the toe to somewhere, make sure it's not disconnecting. We're not trying to drop step, past that white line, really. And that's going to be a zone piece for whatever we do. Here's a look at it from the front. I threw this in there because every time you see drills, they always look great. We practiced this spring, with the COVID-19 protocols. I didn't have either senior. I didn't have our 2 juniors. I had 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores for 95% of the spring. And I'll be honest, it was phenomenal because these guys got to grow and see themselves. They got all the reps. They got to see themselves on film, and they got coached up hard, and we got better. And it was awesome. But I always like to throw this one on there because it's comical. You got guys going several different ways, and then you got our guy in the back working on the drill himself. But really what we're trying to do, again, get from our stance, right, to a power position. So here's a look at it. 1 step. Again, Kyle, far left here, ankles leading the knees, leading the hips, hands out front, good spine angle, perfect. Again, Alex, again, still compact. He's a high school running back. They got moved to the fullback room this year. This is maybe the 2nd week of him coming out of a 3-point stance in his life. We got a lot of work to do there, right? Ben here, okay, not enough knee flexion for me. Got to get that butt down and work on that, okay? Otherwise, we're in probably a decent shape there, right? Got to get the butt down with a little knee bend, okay? And here's just another look at it. Yep, sorry. And then the final piece is we want to see them in unison. That's what I'm trying to show you with this clip. I want to see that foot hit the ground. Boom, 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 right? Every time. Boom, 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 boom. They're in unison. I like that. You can see our offensive line in the background. They're doing a very similar drill to what we're doing. So those first 3 drills are, to me, the way I look at it, stance starts, pre-contact drills, right? Getting them in and out of their stance, and we're trying to drill that part of the basically snap to contact. So that's an area of focus for us, right? Getting out of the stance before the strike, right? These next 2 drills are going to be, I've already struck the defender, And either I'm going to work a refit drill to fix my hands, or we're going to work some type of finish, right? And so what you're going to see here is a refit drill. And really the two things I want to see is when we swipe our hands, okay, I want the knee to follow, okay, the hand, meaning when my hand comes down and swipes, I want my knee to drop with it. We're going to try to pop our hips there, right, and get another bite of the apple, okay? And you'll see a good example of that here, right? But what we're simulating here is, again, you've taken your stance and start, you've gotten out of your stance, right? As I go to move on that defender, he's moving wherever he goes. I didn't get great tip of spear the first time. I'm trying to give these guys confidence, right, to refit their hands, right? And I firmly believe that if I'm going to ask these guys to get their hands corrected, I better drill it. I better give them the ability and the confidence that they can pull their hands off of a target, right? Take one hand off, right, and buy time to refit it where I want it to be, right? So that's what you're going to see right here. So here we're looking to move right. Again, refit tight with the elbow. I want the hand to come right underneath his hand. My elbow, or basically this part of that arm, should go right underneath his elbow. Hopefully, if I'm so tight, I can bump his grip and move his hands up and weaken his position, right? And then again, the knee's going to follow the arm, going to get another bite of the apple. So here's Jack doing a pretty good job right here. Good pop of the hip, going to get extension. Now fix that hand. Good pop. See the dip. Watch the hand follow the knee follow the hand. Excuse me. Refit. Boom. Extension. Good. That's exactly what we're looking for. He could probably be a little bit tighter on the swipe. Right. These guys you see right here, they got a soccer ball in their hands. I want to give them something to strike on. We're trying to narrow where the hands are going to be. Right. Aim small, miss small. So they got just the base of that soccer ball to strike on this drill. Right. So we're trying to give them a target. Also, be quite frank, it takes away a little bit of the pounding on the defender, right? But I like the pop, okay? I like to see the knee dip with the hand, right? And then drive, boom, good lift. That's a good drill, right? Okay, here's a freshman doing it. I probably should have switched these drills in order so you can see bad and then good, but you're going to see good, then bad, right? So here's Kyle, right? Is he playing long? No. Okay, he's mirrored into this block. He has no idea what's going on behind him, right? He's mirrored into this block. And then, again, no pop with the hands, or excuse me, with the hips, excuse me. And then watch just a little lazy on the swipe. Goes all the way down. See how it's going down on my hip? We don't want that. Again, efficient, right underneath it, swiping. We're just rubbing with that elbow. We got to stay tight. You can't lose our position. You can't take your hand off and take too long a time. Here's us moving left. I like to see Zach pop his hips a little bit better. Right, but you can see the finish. I like that piece. See the tail tuck in the lift. Okay, he's got a good base, right? And watch the tail and hips extension. That's good. That piece is good. I'd like to see him lower himself as he gets another bite of this apple. Okay. And how we do it is we'll go in basically inside zone for like how we drill it. We'll move right with a bad backhand. We'll move left with a bad backhand. So if I'm moving this way, this hand's wide. I didn't bring it with me in time, right? So now I'm going to refit as I'm moving this way. Then we'll go straight ahead as well. And they'll fit one hand bad, and then we'll actually fit two hands bad, drilling with the idea in mind that we can't pull both off at the same time. We got to go one at a time, right? And again, drilling that so they have the confidence to be able to do this in game. And again, you can see just a little bit wide with the swipe, excuse me, but better than it was the previous clip. Again, no pop. Got to get pop in our hips there. Here's two at a time. Again, Jack's pretty good at this drill. Good base. Good lever. Pop. Good. And you see him, the knees go down. Good. And then lift and finish. Good job getting another bite of the apple. One at a time. Got to drill it. Can't take both off at the same time. It's one and then two. Okay? One and then two. Now moving to a finish drill. Again, teaching them to give them the confidence to refit the hands, right? And then give them the confidence to finish blocks, right? And to finish, you're going to push, you're going to pull, you're going to torque them, right? That's how you're going to do it. You're going to lift and torque. That's how you're going to finish. The other way we finish here, it was with a box out, right? Sometimes it's always not about burying defenders, right? We can either box them out, put them on our back, or we can finish long. Okay, so here you're going to see a box out, right? No different than what you're thinking, boxing out somebody for a rebound, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to violently rip through our back arm, right? No different than a defensive lineman who's steering and ripping. Okay, elbow to the sky, right? Emphasis on being able to pat ourselves on the back there. Boom, elbows to the sky. And then we're just going to sit down. And we say, wear them like a book bag. You'll see what I mean here as we go through here. Violent rip and then sit. This is when you're losing the defender, right? So again, working these drills, I'll tell you, working these drills the last 2 years, we've limited our holding calls, okay? We had one holding call in, now I think it's 3 holding calls in the last 2 years in 29 games at the tight end position. That's pretty darn good, in my opinion. Not perfect, but pretty darn good, right? And it's because of the refit drill. It's because of this box out drill. It's because of what you'll see next, right? But teach this, drill this, okay? Because they got to have confidence to be able to throw this move, right, in the game, right? And they're only going to get confidence by drilling it, right? So again, violent rip through, elbow high, be able to pat ourselves on the back, and then just sit down on them. Here's another look at it. Boom, sit down on him. This is, again, when we're losing the defender. He's trying to backdoor us, right? We're moving right. He's moving right. He's going to try to backdoor us. I'm sitting down on him. Got to punch through. Good. That's really good there on the left by Zach. See how high that elbow gets? Overemphasize that. Rip that thing to the sky. Okay. Trying to pat ourselves in the back. Good. Zach really took this thing to a whole nother level this fall and started just ripping through and sitting down on a lot of the backside of our inside zones. I believe this is the last one. Pretty good by Alex. Punch through. That arm is punching through so you can bring your back leg through. And we're sitting through. We're sitting down, excuse me. Good. Call this a throw them out of the bar drill. So again, last drill, we're losing them on our backside. He's trying to backdoor us. Now we're losing them to the play, right? I don't want to hold them, okay? But what I want to do is define that hole from the back. So I got to expand them now, right? I sat down, I collapsed on them previously on the last drill. Now I'm trying to get expansion on this drill, okay? We're doing that with circular force, okay? I want to see violent hands, okay? Violent hands, no different than a baseball player, turning his hips and hitting a home run, okay? We're going to violent hands, get that core engaged, okay? And we're getting that torque that we talked about, okay? And the idea is 2 hands are longer than 1, okay? First off, notice this group right here. I love this. Got to coach this guy up every now and then too, right? I don't like that he's bent over, okay? But he's low, okay? You got to make these guys, you can't go to sleep over here. You got to make these guys work, okay? So right here, we're losing him. He's in the hole. He's in the play side. I don't want to hold him. What I'll do is I'll expand him, right? And then it's on the back, right? So you're going to see that front hand is coming off, okay? Don't drop it. Pull it off. Boom. And then again, the counteract to that, action to that is, again, violent circular force from the core and extension by the back arm. And we're extending them. Here's another look at it. Coming at you. See the lead hand, it's coming off. And then extension. Lead hand comes off and then boom. See the hips turn, the core's engaged. Good. And you should see that when that hand comes off, you should see violence from the hand from the core, to the hand. Right? That's, again, expanding them. Again, work those drills. Sorry for jumping ahead there. Work those drills and give them the confidence. Okay, it's not always, we have strike drills, right? You saw Stanson start at the beginning. We do work 6 points, extension on our strikes. We do work some tip of steer stuff. But I think I wanted to show you that because you gotta also coach up when they're already in contact. How are you going to finish this block? What are you going to do if you lose them to to the backside or the front side. You're going to limit, I'm telling you right now, you're going to limit your holding calls right there if you can focus on those things. Here's a little bit of what we do as far as our kick out drills. We call it trim the fat drill because these guys are taking a tight path to kick out a defensive end or whomever on the end of the line of scrimmage. We're trimming the fat off the back of our offensive lineman. That's just talking about, being able to get in there tight, right? No loose space so these guys can spill us, right? So we mentioned trim the fat off those guys' backs up front, right? We're looking for a train wreck mentality, okay? So this is the only time we talk about not playing and striking with our hands, right? And I give the analogy to these guys, if you're running through a door, right? If I ask you to break down a door, you're not going to run at the door with your hands like this. You're going to end up with broken fingers, broken wrist, broken elbow, whatever, right? If you ran into a wall like this or a door, boom, you're done, right? If you run into a door, what you're going to do is go same foot, same shoulder, and you're taking that thing on with a lot of surface area, with a very compact, right? That's the analogy we try to give to them. Finally, the biggest thing for us this off season was we try to take an initiative to be more square at the line of scrimmage when we're making this block. We've traditionally in the last, I guess 2 or 3 years since I've been here, have been big components of a J path. The DNs now do such a great job of holding and hugging the tackle on the veer release. It doesn't allow room to get into that J path, right? So we've really put an emphasis on being square to the line of scrimmage. Again, if we have more time or you guys want to talk more about this, I'd love to show you some clips of how being square has really changed our kickout game. We are a big inside zone, split zone team, power team. Our fullbacks are big components in our run game. So what you'll see here, we're using the shoots to try to teach them to get out of this path. We're striking low, we're starting low and striking low. Okay, Alex, pretty good job here. Same foot, same shoulder, compact through contact, striking low to high, right? Just a lot of surface area. We're lifting and trying to drive this guy out of that hole. Okay, pretty good by Alex. Okay, again, talked about loading the stance from the beginning. Obviously, when you're in a 2-point stance, it doesn't change, right? So you can see the rock here, the unnecessary move to move piece of the whole thing from Kyle. Not good. Got to load the stance even in the 2-point stance. Okay, get going a little bit faster. See, not good. Okay, pretty good here from a trim the fat, stay square, and then train wreck mentality. Again, looking for surface area, same foot, same shoulder when we strike. And then here's us showing just another one of just showing what it means to be square. Like to see our freshman bag holder here give a little bit more resistance, right? But staying square, good job. Now we're not in the chute. I wanted them out of the chute because I wanted them to feel, okay, you got to go through this thing without hitting your head on that bar. As we move into the passing game, again, those are some drills I felt like, no matter who you are, we I didn't want to show you a bunch of hand strikes because if you don't believe in tip of spear, it's really moot, right? I mean, if you want to talk about how we emphasize tip of spear and some of the drills we do, I'd love to do that. But what I wanted to share in the run game was simply, hey, no matter what you do, how you strike, how you double team guys, here's are the things that you can focus on, in my opinion, to get them from point A to point B and then to point C, which is that finish. As we move into the passing game, we're looking at five areas of focus. We already talked about them. Let's start with our stance and starts. We really talk about releases. So we're going to work a couple different releases at the first level here. And what I'm looking for, again, violent hands. So we're going to work a quick exit right here. So we're going to look same hand, same foot. We're clubbing with our outside hand. Okay, looking for a spot right around that meaty part behind the elbow. Okay, we're going to club, and then we're going to rip our back arm through. Again, elbow to the sky, trying to get that thing extended. Overemphasis on the elbow to the sky, being able to pat ourselves on the back. So we'll go quick exit right, quick exit left. Then we'll work a couple of different other releases off of that. But here's a good one right here. I like Zach's finish. Look at the elbow to the sky, right? Good. we're trying to make our exits, our releases all look the same. So I want to be tight to that defender. We talk about trading paint, our hip to his hip, right? So if there's two cars driving down the road and they scraped each other on the sides, that's what we're looking for. Being able to scrape paint. I want my hip square on the departure, okay? Because I want our linebackers and safeties to not know what we're going to do, right? So if we can make our departure the same each time, right, we're gonna be better off for it. Okay, so trading the paint on the defender is a big part of that. Get through here. Here we go. I wanted to show this look. So again, talking about trading paint, that's hip to hip. There we go. Kyle could afford to get that elbow a little bit higher. Okay, overemphasis on the elbow again. Okay, unfortunately, this clip's a little short, but again, hip to hip, getting that thing vertical on the elbow, and then my hips are square on my departure. Okay, and then here would be the second. We don't get to see it very much. The second, maybe I'll go back and see it. Another release that we'll do is just a jab opposite. Try to show that. There we go. Little head nod, jab opposite. We play what I would call mirror six, jam six defensive ends who are going to mirror our departure to try to get us, to prevent us from exiting cleanly. And so again, working this when we know we're going to see that during the week, right? It's not always going to be simple, clean exits into route, right? We got to create some grass for ourselves at that first level. Here, what we're looking for is just a little jab, little head nod, opposite foot first, right? And then from there, same foot, same shoulder, looking for violent club rip. And then again, trying to trade paint. The key, in my opinion, to this is not spending a ton of time on the jab, right? And also protecting your surface area, right? So don't expose yourself when you're jabbing because they're going to be able to get hands on. So we're here and then we're coming back through. Sorry, you can't see my hands. We're coming back through with that violent club rip. We also will work a second level release as well. So we'll set a linebacker up. This is whether we're in a attached or split out. We're working our way through that collision underneath defender. Again, being violent. Sometimes that revolves a little bit more. Same foot, same shoulder, train wreck mentality. We'll drill that as well. I don't have it here, unfortunately. Now we're talking about our break points here. So we're demoing how to transition our weight in the kiss the knee drill here. Okay. And so what I'm looking for here, again, at the start of this thing, there should be you can't really see it, but there's usually a cone there, right? And their toe is on the cone. Okay. And what we want to see is we're overemphasizing the hips being down into that cut. Okay. Chin, knee, foot, all in a line. Okay. Working on what I call transition with the hammer step. Right, so a hammer step is here I am at my break point, and now, boom, my foot comes down. That's the hammer step. I'm about to cut off that hammer step, and whether I'm going, post and out, whatever, I'm transitioning my weight from that step. So when we get to that step, right, this drill, that's where we're at the start of this drill. That hammer step, I got my chin, knee, foot all in a line. My hips are overemphasis on hips being down, and then we're looking for a controlled but violent arm action. So with this one, we're coming back down the route tree here. We want to see that elbow rip tight to the body, okay? Elbow is going to, and knee are going to be in a line. So if I swing that thing, okay, my knee is going to swing. To get my hips open, I got to be tight to the body with the elbow. You'll see that here as we move here. Okay, you can see the one on the left right here. He swings that elbow open, right? And it takes longer to get into that transition because the elbow will lead the knee. Okay, rip that thing tight to the body. Here's another. This is where we want to be. So if this is a progression of the drill, but at the start of this drill, this is exactly where we want to be. Hips down, elbows, knees, and hips in a line, right? Being able to rip out of that, right? The progression of this drill is getting these guys to that point now, right? To that break point, right? So again, hips down, chin, knee, and foot all in a line, okay? And now we're going to see that elbow open the hips and drive out of that spot. Another piece is we'll have our toes slightly pigeon-toed here because we're going to try to transition that weight that way. We want to open our hips a little bit there, okay? So again, progression, start on the cone, then work your way to the cone, okay? Boom, okay? Don't hop into it, okay? If you're gonna hop into it, that means you're not trusting your hips aren't low enough. You're not gonna trust your hammer step. It's gonna cause you to get out of that route slow, okay? Not bad here. Okay, you can see the hips down, boom, good. Not bad here by Ben. Not great there from Zach. Let's transition right to top of the route. So now we're trying to put it all together here, right? We started with kiss the knee, then we got to the cone. Now we're trying to put it the top of the route to all these pieces are together now. Okay, so you should see everything we saw, the hips down, okay, pigeon toe, let the upper body control and violent open, let the upper body open the hips for it, right? Not great with that lead elbow by Alex here, okay? You see it again, sort of just dies, right? Get out of that, okay? Rip that thing, violent elbow, rip it. A little bit better, but you can see that, okay? Again, you can see here with Kyle, the elbow and the knee are tied together. So if the elbow swoops, the knee is going to swoop, right? You're not going to be very powerful, okay? And the other pieces, okay, he's cutting off the wrong foot, okay? If I'm going right, then my hammer step's got to be the left foot, okay? Again, notice the elbow dies, right? I promise you, we got better through the camp with how we did this stuff. But the elbows dies. You can see getting out of it. Just looking to get out of it, right? The knee doesn't open for the hips. Taking too long. And then finally, the drill piece that we'll work on is catching the ball. So you got stance, okay? You got transition, how to top a route, and then you got how to catch the ball. And this is an everyday drill for us. It looks as simple as playing catch. It is that, to be quite frank, okay? But emphasizing, okay, catching and following through to the tuck, right? So we're framing the football here, okay? Let me back up just 1 second. We'll frame the football here with our eyes, okay? And then it's eyes to the tuck, okay? Frame it, and then eyes to the tuck, okay? So we're not just playing catch, okay? These guys aren't just out there just, nonchalantly not doing anything, just talking about the day, okay? They have an idea of what we're trying to do, and this is, again, a pre-practice everyday drill for our guys, okay? Then we'll move to a knee. Again, we talked about uncoupling the hands and the feet while blocking. Same difference with catching the football, okay? Your feet, you have to be able to twist and turn and do different things, flip your hands, whatever, okay? You have to uncouple your feet to your hands when you're trying to catch the football, okay? And what we'll do, how to drill that is we'll have a guy on a knee. We give him 3 targets. So the first one you're going to see, you're going to catch 3 balls at this target, 3 balls at this target, and 3 balls at this target, right? And then they're going to switch their knee, right? And at that point, they've caught 18 balls here this way. They flip the other way. Now they've caught 36, right? Over their left shoulder, or 18 over their left shoulder, 18 over the right shoulder. They've caught 36 balls in the beginning of practice. I love this drill, okay? I love doing this drill. So simulating the arms, just teaching them, again, uncouple the hands and the feet, okay? And then obviously being able to flip the hands when needed, catch the ball away from the body, okay? All those things that are important to catching the football right there, right? And then a little bit, occasionally we'll throw a couple behind, be able to do the same thing. And then pipe drill, just trying to catch the ball away from our body, a little distraction, okay? We do work on some contested catch stuff too as well, which is sort of tied into this. But again, catch the ball away from your body with the pipe drill. And then finally, we'll do this ball skill drill in pregame. We'll do it usually, I would say, twice a week. I love it, this one, because it was raining. But here, what they're doing, okay, they're going to get 2 in the chest, they're going to get 2 below the knee, and then they're going to get 2 jump balls, okay? So here's the chest. Now they're below the knee. We're, again, trying to make them run here with the emphasis of we're going to flip the hands, get the pinkies together, and frame that football, okay? And we do above the head, like fades, and then we also do a jump ball drill. So here, what we're looking for, again, you got to give them confidence to go get these, to be able to high point some of these balls. We got some guys in our room that are 6'3", they're long, they can jump really high, okay? But we got to drill catching that thing and bringing it and making sure it's ours when we get back down to the ground, right? So here, what we're looking for, obviously high point it, go get it at its highest point, okay? And then be intentional with how you're going to rip this thing down, okay? No different than you're rebounding a ball in a basketball game, right? Trying to box out, okay, putting yourself in a good position, right? High point it and then rip that thing down, okay? So again, that's not high pointing the ball, right? Hands are flipped. He's basket catching this. I'm going up here. I'm trying to get up here as high as point as possible, and that is not a good example, right? Here's Tanner. That's good. That's high point, right? Then the added piece is just a little pressure, a little contested piece of it, right? One of the areas we try to improve on really the last 2 years in our room is that contested catch ability, right? We got some guys that are big bodies. They got to use their bodies better, right? So here we're working to shield themselves, put themselves in a position where they can go ball me man on a safety, right? For a jump ball. Okay. Again, rip this thing down with intentions. And then again, shielding yourself. Working on that contested catch. Working on that contested catch. Not good from the coach's standpoint. Lazy. Grade him. That's poor by me. Guys, I'll wrap it up there. Again, I wanted to show you some drills that I feel like no matter what offense you're running, you can incorporate those drills. Whether it's the hands, the hips, and the feet, we're always working on that in the run game. And then how are they getting out of their stance? I mean, those are some key components, whether you're at the middle school, high school level, or college level. And coaching hands, feet, and hips is how we focus on the basics and do the basics better than anyone. Appreciate your attention. I want to thank again Justin for having me be a part of this. This has been awesome. I rushed through the beginning. I felt, like I said, we have Quinn Miners is the talk of the Senior Bowl here, and I forgot to be quite frank, I forgot I had that piece on here, and then I felt like like these guys really don't need to know about our program. They already know about it. So I work at a great place, guys, and it's a special place. I think it's one of the best. It's easily the best culture I've ever been around. It's a culture that doesn't focus on goals and destinations, championships. It's one that focuses on processes. We are able to pound the rock every day. And like I said, it's easy, to think, we just get better players and have more money and this and that. I get it. I before I got here, that's what I thought about this place. But hopefully you saw with some of the drill work we do and just from listening to me talk that our focus is getting better on the basics every single day. And that's what we do. That's what we do best. So.
Love it, Coach. And coaches, if you have any questions, definitely drop it in or follow Coach and follow up with him after. We're definitely gonna have to talk after this. As you were going through, man, I'm like, some of the drills that you do, like I definitely do as a receivers coach. So like I'm a big believer in, I want them to work the bad situations. So like, in those blocking drills, right? When guys are getting over top or so. I like the arm extension. I teach our guys, if we're going, I teach them to just rip and run and just cut them off. So that was a cool way to do that. I like that a lot. The trade paint thing was funny because I had just incorporated that term into something else. We were working, basically getting out of a bad situation, like towards the top of the route. Say we're running some type of inward breaking route, dig, curl, and then, DB's playing some type of off coverage, but he's inside leverage and he's not allowing us to regain the leverage. So we really want to work towards the top and kind of get physical. We can't work a throw by from far away. So we talk about trading paint and kind of getting close and initiating that contact before we come out. So I like that you're using those terms. And like I said, the blocking stuff was on point. So we're definitely gonna have to talk after this for sure, Coach.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned trading paint and receiver. I actually came up with that phrase as the D-line coach at WashU. And it's funny how football is football, and no matter what your you're doing some of the same ideas that you have as block destruction as a D line coach can be used as how we're going to release. I'm teaching a club rip and trading paint no different than how I would teach, a 3 technique to club rip and attack, and collapse a pocket and sack a quarterback. I'm teaching the exact same way, on our releases. So it's amazing. Sometimes, you search, you go watch guys talk, and it's awesome. But, again, keeping it simple for the guys, the fact that we can use the same language, whether you're coaching our D line or coaching our tight ends here,
Yeah.
I think is pretty awesome. Our goal here is to keep it simple so we can get our guys to play fast, and we do that pretty good. I think a pretty good job of that, in maintaining our ability to keep it simple.
I love, I definitely love, I just think it's so important, like the blocking stuff, like, because you're not always in the best position. So you better rep and learn, how to get out of those bad situations, right? Like that's so important. So like, that's why I love working that stuff with my guys, because I know how beneficial it's going to be in the long run. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, to me, it comes back to confidence, right? So your goal as a coach is to get it to show up in on film. Well, if you're not drilling, you're going to lose defenders, right? Either back door or in the front door. You're going to lose guys. They're good. Those guys are getting taught, coached just like you. So you better have an answer to it, right?
Mhm.
And I think it comes back to confidence. And I would say we work the box out drill and the finish long drill this year a lot more. There was a lot more volume of that. A lot, crazy enough because of the COVID and because we're in pods, and I had more individual time than I normally do. So we got to work that stuff more and more. And the crazy thing was seeing it show up time and time and time again. We had one of those guys, all those guys you watched in drill work are freshmen and sophomores. And when our freshmen started boxing out our All-American DN and having the confidence to box him out and sit down on that and not panic because he's losing the defender, that's when I knew, we're in pretty good shape as far as is it showing up. And again, I think it all comes back to confidence and keeping it simple.
Absolutely. No, I love it, Coach, and I appreciate, man, jumping on. I'm gonna shoot you a message after this, so we can talk some more. But really great stuff, man. From the player development to the tight end stuff, tight end play, the blocking drills, all that stuff, man. Top of the route stuff. It was great. So, and I love the attention to detail, man. That's what's so important, man. So I definitely appreciate your time today, and I appreciate all these coaches checking in.
Yeah, thank you, Justin. Keep again. One thing I'll say real fast before I leave. Last year, I said at the beginning when it was just you and I, like I started a similar project that you did. I did a quarantine with coaches. Really, if you want to go see it, it became. I thought it was going to be a 2-week project, and it ended up being a 4-month project. And it was fortunate because I got a lot of guys to come on the video cast, and it's hashtag quarantine with coaches on Twitter. It's quarantine with coaches on YouTube. I did it with the idea that I was going to try to make coaches better. So I guess I say all that to say to you, like, really appreciate what you're doing, and it's a phenomenal resource for everybody. I said at the beginning, the Google Drive. If you need somebody to sell that for money, I'd love to get involved in that. I'd love to help you do that because the Google Drive is phenomenal. I see Coach Hills in here with us. He and I are always talking about we share an office, and you're doing a great job just promoting our game and getting coaches better. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you.
Appreciate that, man. And I'll definitely hit you with some more book recommendations too.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Brother. Take care, guys.
You too.